If you met Michael Patrick, the first thing you noticed was the sheer physical energy he brought into a room. Those who knew him best described a joyful, infectious presence, a literal titan of a ginger-haired man. You might not expect someone with that kind of booming charisma to start out in the quiet lecture halls of academia. But Patrick initially went to the University of Cambridge to study science. He eventually traded the laboratory for the stage, jumping into the university's prestigious Cambridge Footlights comedy troupe. That highly active, expressive acting style caught the attention of major casting directors. It landed him a rugged, demanding role as a wildling rioter in Season 6 of HBO's Game of Thrones. Every step of his early career relied on his body, his ability to move, to physically command a space, and to express himself through motion was the core baseline driving his upward trajectory as an actor. By early 2023, his career was accelerating. He was booking roles in high-profile dramas for creators like Stephen Knight. Then, in February, that momentum came to a devastating halt. At exactly 32 years old, doctors gave Patrick a diagnosis of motor neuron disease. MND systematically targets motor neurons, the vital bridges carrying signals from the brain down to the skeletal muscles, slowly destroying them over time. When these pathways dissolve, the brain loses control, and patients progressively lose the capacity to walk, breathe, speak, and swallow. For a performer, the body is the instrument. Patrick was now facing an incurable condition designed to strip away the very mobility his livelihood required. Facing the gradual failure of his own muscles, Patrick refused to step away. Instead, he leaned into the skill set he had spent years developing as a storyteller. He had a proven track record of converting his personal hardships into compelling scripts, having recently co-written the BBC television series My Left Nut. The entire premise of that show was pulled directly from his own highly vulnerable teenage experiences, putting his private life on screen for the world to see. Audiences and critics responded to that honesty. The series swept 3 Royal Television Society Awards and took home the Summerhall Lustrum Award. Long before his terminal diagnosis, he had built a reliable framework. He knew exactly how to take the messy reality of his life and mold it into acclaimed art. When the symptoms of his disease began to rapidly accelerate, Patrick applied that exact same methodology to his new reality. He made the bold decision to return to the stage in Northern Ireland, taking on the notoriously demanding Shakespearean role of Richard III. He made no attempt to hide his physical decline from the audience. He fully integrated a wheelchair into the performance, wrapping his real-world limitations directly into the character. The disease was relentlessly severing the connections to his muscles, but his mind, his timing, and his enormous spirit remained entirely intact. By placing his own deterioration under the stage lights, he made a definitive statement. The condition could claim his movement, but it could never touch his agency as an artist. Patrick's final public update came in February of 2026. In that post, he shared a stark reality with his followers. A neurologist had just informed him he had only a year left to live. He passed away shortly after, at the age of 35. After spending 10 days in hospice care in Northern Ireland, he died peacefully, surrounded by his friends and family. When his wife, Naomi Sheehan, shared the news of his passing, she offered a clear perspective on how we should view his legacy. She emphasized that his ability to inspire others predated his illness. He lived a life as full as any human could, actively committing his daily life to joy and infectious laughter. To capture his worldview, she shared a quote he loved from the Irish writer Brendan Behan. "The most important things to do in the world are to get something to eat, something to drink, and somebody to love you." Michael Patrick's story ends far sooner than it should have, but it stands as a masterclass in how to fiercely, entirely inhabit whatever time and capability we happen to have.